Everything right now is very up in the air. I felt the same way about the Georgia runoffs yesterday. I really didn't know. I didn't have a gut feeling. I just kind of, shrugged my shoulders and said, I'll wake up in the morning and figure it all out. But one person who made me feel a little bit better about it is Red State writer Mike Miller. Now, Mike wrote this story before the results really came out, but I think the crux of what he said still holds true. Mike, thank you for joining us.
Grace, how are you? This is your third episode, huh?
Yes, this is my third episode, and I'm featuring the one and only Mike Miller.
Hey, I mean, and I'm the only Mike Miller in the country, too, so that makes me pretty special. Before we get into this, I can predict what Mike Pence is going to do, and he's going to follow the Constitution. I hate to break it to whomever doesn't want to hear this, but the Constitution, U.S. Constitution, does not give the vice president unilateral authority to reject electors from a state. It just does not happen. So when Donald Trump, and let me throw this disclaimer in, folks, I voted for Donald Trump both times. I've written for a long time. I have defended him fiercely against, the lapdog liberal media and Nancy Pelosi and the Democrats, and I have credited him for everything he's done. But I have also criticized him from time to time on some of his Twitter antics and so forth, and I tend to get skewered for that. But, he can't do it. I mean, I'm not Jonathan Turley, but Donald Trump is asking him to do something that he can't do. So at any rate, I don't think it's my opinion. That's the fact, and I'm going to stick to it. Okay, so last night, and butt in when you want, okay, because it's your show.
No, but Mike, I like where you're going with this, because it is true. I mean, I think Donald Trump said it, and, people do like to hear it. There is always stuff that, red meat for people that they want to hear, they want to believe. I don't blame people. They're feeling down. But like you said, whether or not it's constitutional is a different story. Just because it makes you feel good doesn't mean it's going to happen.
It's not. It's not there's nowhere in the Constitution that gives Vice President the unilateral authority to do that. Let me explain Donald Trump real quick too, in terms of my opinion. And we need to go back to the tariffs on China. I know how this guy thinks. Donald Trump, from the beginning of the China tariffs, wrongly said multiple times that China paid the tariffs. He would say things like, I have some of it memorized. Just think of those billions and billions of dollars we have flowing into the U.S. Treasury from China, the tariffs. That is categorically incorrect. Exporters don't pay tariffs. Importers pay tariffs on products from companies or countries that a president slaps tariffs on. Importers pay, that trickles down ultimately to the end consumer. Here's what I think. I initially thought Trump was lying, right? Just bald-faced lying, because Donald Trump does have an arm's length with the truth from time to time. And again, you guys, I voted for this guy. I wanted him to win as much as any of you. But I really started thinking about it and doing a little reading along the way. And people who know him, and it was specifically about this tariff issue, because he's just flat out wrong. It doesn't work that way. People that know him believe, at least some, that if he gets something in his mind, let's keep in mind, Donald Trump's been an isolationist for decades, okay? If Trump gets something in his mind that he thinks is true, it's there. No talking him out of it. He believes it's true. That's it. It becomes facts in his mind. And I think that's part of what we have going on here. I wrote about the big blow up with WAPO releasing the 4 minutes and then ultimately the entire hour. And shame on Raffensperger for allowing that to get out. But he was Donald was regurgitating stuff it's just been debunked, just stuff that's not true. I believe there was fraud. There's been voter fraud since there have been voters. The question is, and again, there's a difference between voter fraud and election fraud. Has there been, quote, massive election fraud that determined the outcome of the election? I don't know. But I do know, and even Lou Dobbs says it, that there has been no substantive evidence presented, and I know you got people's hair on fire at me already, to prove it. And
but Mike, my only issue, I just want to interject here, was
no, go ahead.
When there does seem to be things that raise concern, whether it's videos of ballots in boxes, and I'll give you that some of those things end up being debunked or whatever, but when they say things like, well, we think 5,000 dead people voted, and Georgia says, oh, no, they did not. And then Trump's legal team says, okay, well, we want to see how you know that. And they say, oh, we can't show you that information. For me, as someone observing it, that doesn't sit well with me, that like they can't really prove it didn't happen.
No, I agree with you on that. I do. And I think I've been careful to in writing and in speaking, not to say that it didn't happen. I just don't believe that the proof has been here. Let me do Lou Dobbs real quick. Quote, this is from 2 days ago. We're 8 weeks from and we know Lou Dobbs is as loyal follower of Donald Trump as there is. And again, I voted for Trump twice, okay? This is Lou Dobbs. He says, we're 8 weeks from the election, and we still don't have verifiable, tangible support for the crimes that everyone knows were committed, that is, defrauding other citizens who voted with fraudulent votes. We know that's the case in Nevada and Pennsylvania, but we have had a devil of a time finding actual proof. Why? Part of what I hope comes out of today, nothing is going to affect the 2020 election, which is why I wrote what I wrote last night. I'm sorry, we can get that real quickly. But if anything comes out of today, and I support the efforts of the Congress folks to do this, it's got to be, in my humble opinion, an objective commission or something to look at this election and what happened and the nonsense in Pennsylvania when, in effect, you had an activist Supreme Court go around the state legislature. That stuff needs to be looked at, and that needs to not happen again.
Right. No, I agree. And I just, Mike, I want to quickly here get to, because you did say that you wrote about if we have a Democrat-controlled Senate, which is looking more and more likely. And I found your piece interesting because you're noticing something I'm noticing, which is for as much as conservatives are very worried about that, it does not appear as if Joe Biden is as interested in the progressive squad as he once appeared to be.
Not at all. And I have to say, and I said in the Red State piece, he had to, at least internally, breathe a tremendous sigh of relief. He would have had the Democrats not taken the Senate.
Right.
Because he knows Mitch McConnell. These guys have worked together for years. Biden has always been a moderate. They could get, I think, sensible stuff done. They could have gotten infrastructure done, maybe drug pricing reform, some immigration stuff. I'm not sure. But now, if what it looks like is going to happen happens, Pelosi just named AOC, and I only saw the headline, one of the other members of the squad to I'm not sure, it's an oversight committee, which is pretty powerful, right? So they're going to be able to drive stuff and try to force Biden into stuff. Biden doesn't want to have anything to do with that. Look what he did to Sanders and Warren.
I was just going to get to that because
they might as well have put skits on in his front yard auditioning for his cabinet. And
You wrote that, and I did laugh. You said self-declared Democrat socialists Bernie Sanders and Elizabeth Warren have all but performed musical skits outside Biden's basement window in desperate efforts to lobby for cabinet positions in a Biden administration. And what I liked the best about this piece, which I hadn't seen this until you put it in here, was that Biden is trying to spin this almost like, what does it remind me of? It reminds me of when I try to convince someone to do the laundry and I say, oh, you're just better at it than I am. He's basically saying to them, oh, you're too important. You do too much good stuff where you are. We got to keep you in your spot. We can't bring you in here. And it's a pretty weak spin even for him.
Well, that's right, and that's a tall order to be weak for him. But it's correct. I mean, he doesn't want anything to do with those two people in his administration. So I think that if we stand back as conservatives, and I think what's very important for people to do, especially the more loyal someone is to Trump, and I get that, is to disassociate that with moving forward, right? That doesn't mean get over it. That doesn't mean accept it. That doesn't mean any of the like. But it does mean that it's that it's over, okay? And we have more, I'm sorry, but we have more important things to think about than one guy who was the president shortly. We have an increasingly dangerous Democrat Party, I believe, to fight. We have morals, we have policies, we have things to fight for. Trumpism, I think, is not going away. Trump might be going away, but this notion of America first, and shame on the Democrats. What country on the planet does not put its interests above all others? And if it doesn't, it's not a country anymore.
And what I'll say, Mike, is, and I agree with you that, we do have to kind of look towards the future here and figure out what we're going to do next, because we have to be ready. We can't give up. We can't just say, okay, well, they have control now, and, this is what happened. You guys didn't vote for Trump, so now it's all, we're going to hell in a handbasket. But where I disagree with you a little bit is I don't think Trumpism is going away, and I don't think Trump himself is going away.
No.
Not necessarily that he's going to run again, but I think he's going to be a powerful force in getting some new Republican blood into the party.
I think we kind of just said the same thing. I said Trumpism isn't going away. And Donald Trump may be going away in terms of being a president, right?
Right.
But no, I think he's going to be very, very influential. He's going to do, I'm sure there will be paid, I call them Trumpapaloozas, and the Trumpers, they actually like that. But he's going to do what ex-presidents do, and he should, rightly so. So I think through speaking engagements and, a book or two, which will be fascinating, he's at his best in these rallies. He's not going away, and Trumpism is not going away. He brought America Matters first back, and we
Mike,
needed that.
What's so funny is you just said, I was talking about this with someone the other day, he will do speaking engagements and he will write books, and that's kind of always been something that people accept about presidents. You serve your term or your 2 terms, and then you get to make a little bit of money in the private sector, and it's kind of just, you tip your hat to people. It's what they do. But I'm almost guaranteeing that all of these people who had no problem with Obama writing book after book and Spotify deal and podcasting and Netflix, they're gonna take issue with Trump making money after this. There's gonna be a lot of headlines about Trump, taking advantage of the presidency after he leaves office.
The hypocrisy of the left knows no bounds.
I totally agree. Mike, where can people read your stuff?
They're going to read my stuff at redstate.com. You can go to authors at the top next to the Red State logo, and you can find me and some other great writers there. And we have been a pro-Trump site. We're a pro-life site. We got some good stuff there. And, it's a little more free-form. We're not all stuffy and stuff. So if you like that kind of stuff, check us out.
All right. Thank you, Mike. Yeah, I love Red State. It's a great site. I will retweet Mike's column on my Twitter, G_Curley. Thank you so much for joining us. I like hearing a little bit of pushback. It's nice to get somebody who doesn't think exactly the same way I do. All right, guys, when we get back, we have more news and more stories and more guests. This is Grace Curley, and this is The Grace Curley Show.